happen. You won't say in principle, yeah, look, they're going to have to go up and you'll get more detail.
I appreciate that, but
cool.
I appreciate that. But you know, and I know, that no government before a budget sets out what's going to be in the budget.
I'm not asking you to, I'm asking you about the principle. You said to me in Grimsby, all our plans are fully funded, fully costed, fully funded. We do not raise taxes on working people, no rises for income tax, national insurance, for VAT. That's still the case, but are other taxes going up?
I said that to you in Grimsby. I think I said it to you everywhere we met in the entire campaign.
Are other taxes
going up? And I'll absolutely repeat that. For working people, we made an absolute commitment that their income tax wouldn't go up, their national insurance wouldn't go up, their VAT wouldn't go up. I said that in the campaign. We're going to keep to those promises.
But should we expect taxes more broadly to go up?
We're going to have to make difficult decisions in this budget. I'm not going to preempt the budget.
That's a yes.
You know that.
Okay.
Look, but what we are going to do, it's really important that we fix the foundations. We've got to clear up this mess once and for all.
Keir Starmer has just suffered what may go down as the most humiliating political collapse of his entire career, and the fallout is shaking every corner of the country. This unravelling isn't just the result of one bad policy or a minor misstep. It's the explosive consequence of years of political arrogance finally catching up with Labour's leadership.
Keir Starmer is the biggest hypocrite on earth. He spent his whole career campaigning for mass migration and for open borders. Look at this.
So we have to make the case for the benefits of migration, the benefits of free movement.
Well, that was 2020. That for the man, of course, who did all he could to stop Brexit. Now today, because Reform are smashing in the opinion polls and in the local elections, he stands up and says, you can trust me, you can believe me, we are going to reduce net migration. This guy is a hypocrite. He's totally insincere. No wonder his support is falling off a cliff. He deserves it.
At the heart of this chaos are British farmers, Nigel Farage, and a senior judge who has thrown down the gauntlet against what many now see as Labour's creeping authoritarianism. Across the UK, especially in rural heartlands, a storm is raging. Farmers, the very backbone of Britain's agricultural economy, have had enough.
Basically, the government, you know, Keir Starmer came and told the farmers at the NFU conference that we would not have any tax rises. Right. And he sat in the hall in front of 3,000 NFU members and lied for an hour. And he's betrayed us. He's lied to the British public. And I don't own my farm. I'm only the caretaker for the next generation. Yeah. My parents did without in the 70s to keep our farm so we didn't lose it. My great-uncle died on the battlefields of Flanders to keep our farm. Our farm was bombed and strafed by the Germans during the Second World War, and we didn't lose our farm. And we're not going to sit down idly to lose our farms. And if Keir Starmer sold every farm in the UK, there will still not be enough money for the National Health Service. And the farmers can't pay for all their mistakes. And it's about time the people of this country woke up. You need farmers. We produce cheap, healthy, good food.
For years, they've been dismissed, over-regulated and ignored by elites in Westminster who wouldn't last an hour in a pair of muddy boots. And now Labour has tried to push through a 20% inheritance tax on family farms worth over £1 million. A move so tone-deaf and destructive that it triggered a full-scale revolt. The countryside has erupted. Tractors have rolled into city centres, roads are blocked. Produce is being dumped at Parliament's doorstep. This isn't an average protest, it's a movement. Nigel Farage, never one to avoid confrontation, has backed the farmers, declaring this isn't just about tax, it's about power, freedom and survival. The farmers' message is clear. They feed the country and refuse to be crushed under a tax burden designed by urban politicians who understand nothing of the land, labour or legacy of farming. The National Farmers Union warns over 60% of farms could face destruction. Generations of work gone under bureaucratic authoritarianism masked as reform.
It's a disgrace, an absolute disgrace, that this man stood in the NFU conference and said he was going to protect family farms. That's what he said. That's what he said, and I'll tell you, we in Wales have had 25 years of labour as a farmer. We're on our knees. That's why we're out protesting. That's why we're out in them docks. And when people ask you that question, you tell them, we fed this country affordably, seasonally and healthily since day dot. These buildings and these people wouldn't be here without us. They destroyed everything. Do not let them destroy our industry. We're proud, we're hardworking, and we pay our taxes, and we have done across the board. They don't understand that people are not making a profit.
Stop paying the taxes.
We are not going to pay the inheritance tax. Listen to the people before you go cold and hungry, and it will happen. Food inflation, food shortages, and the poorer people in society will suffer. And that's why when we go home tonight, we'll go back to working hard, to making sure there's food on them shelves.
Starmer, meanwhile, is acting not as a leader but as an enforcer. Instead of listening, his first instinct was to send in the police to silence the protests, to brand hard-working families as extremists simply for daring to fight for their livelihoods. Arrests were being prepared. Legal teams inside Labour were reportedly drawing up plans to crack down on what they viewed as disobedience.
Probably just have to stop, to be honest, just so I can keep a roof over their heads and stuff.
James would face over £1 million in inheritance tax on a farm that's basically not making much money.
No, well, we're 300 acres here, basically. A third of it's some scanfers, like I said before, which we use a bit for the bedding. The rest goes into power station, like for power and that for homes, obviously. Yeah. The other third is cereals, food for the British public, which, because we're such a small farm, we don't really have the equipment to do so.
But you're a genuine family farm.
Yeah, my granddad was, obviously we're the third generation.
Yeah.
My granddad was still coming over here when he was 90 years old, died when he was 92. My dad's 76.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he has had some bad news cancer-wise, so yeah, he's stuck at home, so he doesn't come over a great deal. But yeah, 300 acres, 3 properties on the farm.
Yeah.
But just as the gears of repression began to turn, Nigel Farage stepped in with Reform UK MPs demanding answers in Parliament, exposing what was quickly becoming a scandal of national proportions. Farage called economic cleansing masked as environmental policy, and he wasn't exaggerating. Then came the twist that shocked even Labour loyalists. The senior judge, one of the top legal minds in the UK, quietly but firmly issued a warning to Starmer's government. Sources close to the judiciary have revealed that senior legal figures are deeply disturbed by Labour's attempts to criminalise peaceful protest. The judge, whose identity remains under wraps due to immense political pressure, reportedly told colleagues that the arrests would constitute an abuse of power and could set a chilling legal precedent, threatening both the right to protest and the principle of property rights across the UK. Think about that for a minute. Even the courts are now pushing back against Labour. That's how far Starmer has gone. More intriguingly, this isn't just about a single tax policy. It's about who gets to own Britain. It's about whether ordinary people still have a place in their own country. Labour's plan, as it becomes clearer by the day, is to redistribute land under the banner of environmentalism and wealth equality. But in practice, it's nothing more than state-sanctioned expropriation. Even Tony Blair is starting to flinch. His think tank is now publicly warning Labour that its net zero agenda, the very ideology fueling these anti-farmer policies, is political suicide. It's unrealistic, it's economically insane, and it's alienating voters by the tens of thousands. Reform UK, emboldened by Farage's return to frontline politics, has launched an aggressive campaign calling for the complete abolition of the inheritance tax on farms. They've demanded a halt to all net zero land policies unless they're approved via a national referendum. And Starmer is now boxed in. He's trying to please radical green activists on one side, while on the other, he's facing a tidal wave of backlash from rural communities, political opponents, and even parts of the judiciary. And the broader British public, they're watching closely. and many are seething. What's unfolding is not just a debate about tax codes or environmental goals. It's a war for the country's future, for a struggle between elites who want to dictate your life and people who believe in responsibility, ownership and sovereignty. Farage is again proving to be a force the establishment can't contain, as he continues to speak facts others fear to admit, which is that Labour wants to dismantle the independent farming class because they can't be controlled. These are not Labour voters. They are not dependent on handouts. They are self-reliant, proud and tied to Britain's identity. So they are dangerous to Labour's vision of a managed eco-utopian state. As the protests continue to build and the government's grip begins to crack, Labour's narrative is falling apart. They call the protests chaotic, selfish and even dangerous, but the reality is painfully simple. If the government can seize farms today, they can seize homes tomorrow. If they can jail farmers for protesting today, they can jail anyone for dissent. And if they succeed in silencing this movement, they'll believe they can get away with silencing every future one. That's why the judge's intervention is so crucial. It signals the beginning of what could be a legal reckoning for a government that believed it could twist the law to crush its opposition. But now the very legal system it tried to weaponise is turning against it. Meanwhile, Labour's net zero fantasy continues to unravel. It's not just the farmers or Farage anymore. Labour's allies are beginning to express doubt. The public is waking up to the fact that net zero doesn't mean a cleaner, greener Britain. It means more taxes, higher energy bills, fewer jobs, and state control over every aspect of daily life, from how you heat your home to how you drive your car. The political cost is becoming impossible to ignore. Starmer is floundering. The protests are growing louder. The people's opinions are shifting. And his one certain march into Downing Street now looks increasingly fragile. He tried to rule like a courtroom barrister, lecturing, commanding and silencing dissent. But Britain's farmers aren't on trial. They are the resistance. And with Nigel Farage rallying behind them, with judges beginning to question the legality of Labour's actions, and with the public's patience wearing thin, the tables have turned dramatically. And now, as if things couldn't get worse for Starmer, a new betrayal is emerging on the horizon. While rural Britain fights to protect its land, Starmer is preparing to drag the entire nation backward with a quiet, calculated betrayal of Brexit. Forget the promises. Forget the 17.4 million voices behind closed doors. Whitehall officials are working on a reset of UK-EU relations. A so-called Swiss-Soir deal that would mean adopting EU rules, paying into Brussels, and effectively giving up what was so hard fought in 2016. Starmer claims the public has moved on from Brexit, but the truth is he's counting on voters being too tired or distracted to notice what he's doing. It's not a reset, it's a rollback, a slow Manescian surrender to the EU that would lock Britain back into alignment and erode every gain made since the referendum. The most cynical part is that Starmer's government has reportedly assembled a group inside Westminster, unofficially dubbed the Surrender Squad, tasked not with defending British sovereignty, but with planning its quiet erosion ahead of a summit set for May 19th. This is no longer just about farmers or taxes, it's about who controls Britain, its laws, its land and its future. Starmer may believe this is his moment to shine, but for millions it's a moment of betrayal. Britain voted out, Labour wants back in, and if the people don't rise now, they may not get another chance. For a man who promised to bring back trust and sanity to British politics, Starmer's leadership has become one of the biggest betrayals of public trust in recent memory.
Basically, the government, Keir Starmer came and told the farmers at the NFU conference that we would not have any tax rises. And he sat in the hall in front of 3,000 NFU members and lied for an hour. And he's betrayed us. He's lied to the British public. And I don't own my farm. I'm only the caretaker for the next generation. My parents did without in the 70s to keep our farm so we didn't lose it. My great-uncle died on the battlefields of Flanders to keep our farm. Our farm was bombed and strafed by the Germans during the Second World War, and we didn't lose our farm. And we're not going to sit down idly to lose our farms. And if Keir Starmer sold every farm in the UK, there would still not be enough money for the National Health Service. And the farmers can't pay for all their mistakes. And it's about time the people of this country woke up. You need farmers. We produce cheap, healthy, good food.
Shockingly, it appears he has no intention of slowing down or even changing his methods. He thinks aggressive actions against any voice of opposition will help him gain control over the people, but that hasn't been the case at all.
Morning, Will. You've got some farmers with you as well.
Good morning. Yes, quite a few farmers here in Derbyshire. We practiced that beforehand. It's not uncommon to see a fair few tractors on the rural roads of Derbyshire, Lincolnshire and other parts of the country as well. But you're probably going to see quite a few more of them today because Farmers to Action are continuing their protest against what some people are describing as the family farm tax, the introduction of inheritance tax on family farms. I'm joined by one family farmer, Les Bohm, here. Just describe for me a little bit about your farm here in Derbyshire.
We're dairy farmers. We've been farming all my life. My parents has as well. We're third generation. I've got a fourth generation at home doing the work, so I could be here. I feel very sorry for all these lads here who are a lot younger than me, because this inheritance tax is really going to give them a...
Frankly, it is the opposite that is happening at the moment. And with Farage's Reform UK party gaining more popularity with voters as seen in the last local elections a few weeks ago, and some of the country's top judges pushing back against him, it's becoming increasingly clear that Starmer's days may be shorter than many of his supporters earlier anticipated. If you enjoyed this political firestorm, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating political content.